So my name is Stephanie Garner, and I am the program coordinator at Down Syndrome Indiana. Really excited that you guys can join us tonight for our second session of Promoting Independence for Life. And this session tonight is on the Erskine Green Training Institute with Mr. Fenway Park. Fenway is the recruitment specialist for Erskine Green, and so he's going to be telling us about their program and things that you can do with your loved one now, getting ready, moving forward to help prepare them for, that independent future down the road. Before we go any further, I do want to stop and thank our conference sponsors. So About Special Kids, Family Voices Indiana, Mass Mutual Midwest, and Mr. Gordon Homes, and Shepherd's College are our sponsors for the event. Make sure that you do visit them. Oops, I lost the screen. I think the next one is the visit our sponsors. Let's see. Yeah, we want to make sure you visit our sponsors at our exhibit hall, and you can go to that exhibit hall at www.dsindiana.org/virtual-exhibit-hall. And then I do want to share a word from one of our sponsors.
Hi, and welcome to Shepherd's College. Shepherd's College is a 3-year post-secondary school that exists to educate and train students with intellectual or developmental disabilities by equipping them in vocational, social, and life skills while inspiring a lasting awareness of God's plan for their lives. Shepherd's College Greenhouse and Horticulture Lab provides students with hands-on and classroom experience. The greenhouse opens seasonally to the public, providing students with opportunities to design custom-made planters, as well as develop their customer service and money skills.
At Shepherd's College, I enjoy the aquaponics system, having a lot of our lettuce, a lot of our vegetables, basically without fertilizer. The fish are mostly doing all the work, but we're pretty much having to put in the plants and make sure that they work, make sure they grow.
Shepherd's College Culinary Arts Lab and Commercial Kitchen gives students hands-on and classroom experience as they pursue careers in culinary arts.
I absolutely love culinary a lot.
And then the top mixture was a crumble, which has like cinnamon sugar, brown sugar, flour, glass butter, and interesting stuff. It looks really good.
In the lab, students focus on specific skill development, while the commercial kitchen provides them with marketable industry experience. Shepherd's College Technology Program offers students hands-on and classroom experience as they pursue careers in technology. Topics of training include professional office skills, programming, coding, networking, repairs, and mass media.
I love computers, learning how to build and troubleshoot.
Along with our technology, horticulture, and culinary arts labs, Shepherd's College has a variety of classrooms. Teachers use the real teaching and learning strategy that helps students learn relationally and experientially in their preferred learning style. They can see how the information being taught can be applied to their life now and after Shepherd's College. The first phase of the residential progression at Shepherd's College is in the Wood Center. We provide housing for our female students in the north dorms and separate male student dorms to the south. In each wing, students share dorm-style rooms, a common kitchen, dining area, laundry room, and a community living space. The dorms are the most structured and supported residential environments on campus, allowing first-year students to transition successfully from home to college. The second phase in the residential progression at Shepherd's College is Homes A and B. Home A provides housing for 8 women and Home B for 8 men. The homes provide the opportunity for increased independence as students are responsible to prepare meals, do their own laundry, and care for their rooms and common living areas. The Clark Apartments are the third and final phase of the residential progression at Shepherd's College. These 2-person apartments give students a greater sense of independence as they prepare for life after graduation. In the Clark Apartments, students have a weekly grocery budget, plan and prepare their own meals, and shop for their own groceries.
Can we show you your apartment?
Yeah. For the tour? Thank you. Additionally, students share responsibility in cleaning, laundry, and general apartment upkeep. So here's our Student Media Center. Provides some desktop computers or some iPads and a variety of other kind of resources that students can check out or use as they need to for projects or for leisure, recreation in the afternoons and evenings. Our dedicated advisors love their students and play a pivotal role in their journey towards appropriate independence. Advisors are also the primary point of contact for parents, and they communicate about how a student is doing throughout the course of the year, because we find it's really important that we work as a team, both with the families and the individual, towards student success. Home to the Soaring Eagles, the Bolt House Center is where the action is, including Special Olympics, chapel, graduation, and other special events. Monday through Friday, Shepherd's Table is the place to be for lunch. Food is prepared in Shepherd's Kitchen, right here on campus, where culinary students have an opportunity to learn and serve. This is the Finley Center. It's the first building on campus, and it's where our business, human resources, marketing, and foundation offices are located. On the second floor, we have 4 hotel-style suites available for families and guests who visit our campus, free of charge. Suites are reserved on a first-come, first-served basis. Shepherd's College is fully recognized as a post-secondary program by the U.S. Department of Education. The accreditation opens up funding sources for students in the form of federal student aid, such as the Pell Grant, Student and Parent Plus loans, and federal work-study. It also enables some students to receive additional funds through third-party scholarships, as well as vocational rehabilitation funding from certain states. If you'd like to know more, we invite you to join us in person. As always, please feel free to call or email us if we can help you further explore the possibility of attending Shepherd's College.
All right, so again, don't forget to visit that exhibit hall to check out more about all of our exhibitors. In addition to contact information for the different exhibitors, a lot of them have also shared short video clips so you can learn more about them, things that you would typically find out in a typical exhibit hall. All right, and with that, we will go ahead and hand things over to Mr. Fenway. If you want to go ahead and take over and start sharing your screen, sir, you are welcome to.
Okay, so I am going to share my PowerPoint that I've got here. Get it to where I can see everything.
And while you're setting up, Fenway, I just wanted to let everybody know that if you have questions, you are welcome to ask those during the presentation. If you want to unmute yourself and say, hey, I've got a question, or you can type those in the chat box, and I will be keeping an eye on that. And if it's pertinent to what we're discussing, I will go ahead and let Fenway know there is a question, okay?
Okay, awesome. So you should be able to see my screen here, my PowerPoint. I've got it zoomed in here. I'm going to zoom it in a little bit more so you can see it hopefully a little bit big on your screen. Yeah, so let me talk a little bit about myself as an intro. So my name is Fenway Park, and I am with Erskine Green Training Institute, and we are located here in Muncie, Indiana. And I oversee, as Stephanie said, I oversee all of our recruitment, but then I also oversee all of our marketing efforts as well. So I'm in charge of our website and social media. So we are on social media on almost every platform you can think of. We are posting on there constantly. And so thank you for taking time this evening to jump on here to learn more about Erskine Green Training Institute. I hope you find this very beneficial to learn about our program, but then also some of our material that we've put together to help families, but also educators on some things that we have put together to help individuals prepare to come to Erskine Green Training Institute. So Erskine Green Training Institute, it comes from the Erskine part name comes from a gentleman named Carl Erskine, and he has done a lot within Indiana on the disability field. And so it's in honor of him. He also played for the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the day and played with Jackie Robinson. And then the green comes from Steve Green that is in the Noblesville area. And Steve was Bobby Knight's first recruit at IU. And he also was a big supporter and advocate in the disability field here in Indiana. And so it's in honor of those two gentlemen is where we get our name Erskine Green Training Institute. So we're gonna go to the next slide here. So Erskine Green Training Institute is part of the Arc of Indiana. I'm sure you've heard of the Arc of Indiana, and the Arc of Indiana is a statewide advocacy organization. They are downtown Indianapolis, but then they are also serving all the communities across the whole state of Indiana, and they are advocating for people with disabilities at the local level, but also at the state level as well. So there's the Arc of Indiana, and then there's the Arc of Indiana Foundation, which is what Erskine Green Training Institute is housed out of, is out of the foundation part. So it was several years ago that, over 5 years ago, a gentleman and his wife had this dream of a teaching hotel. Their son, at the time, was entering high school, and they said, what's he going to do when he exits the school system? And so they had the dream of a teaching hotel, took it to the Arc of Indiana board. They did a feasibility study, ran with it. By the time that came back, the building that they had in mind was actually sold. We had people on board, and they said, if we give you the land, will you make it happen? And now we sit in this building today, and we have made it happen. We are finishing our 4th year. We're in our 4th year, and so very excited for that. So we own and operate the Courtyard Marriott that's downtown Muncie here, and then we also have a restaurant in it. It is called 625 Tap House, and then we have EGTI that's housed inside of it as well. So Erskine Green is a one-of-a-kind post-secondary training institute, educating and training adults with disabilities. And this is for anybody that has any type of a disability. Does not matter what type of disability it is. The individual, once they attend EGTI, they're applying, they have exited the school system in any fashion. Does not matter how they exited, whether that is a certificate of completion, a GED, they've maybe dropped out. It does not matter, just as long as they've left the school system, so they can't come to EGTI and then go back into the school system. The student must be 18 years of age by the time that they enroll into EGTI. So we have a lot of students that look at our program when they are maybe 16, 17, even a freshman in high school, but they are not enrolling until they turn 18. A lot of our students are from the state of Indiana, but we have had some individuals from out of state, one from Illinois and one from Ohio. And we actually were supposed to have a student here this summer from New York, but due to COVID, he decided to wait, and so he will actually be coming next year. So next summer, he will be here from New York. So it's great that we've actually had people from other states. We've actually had people come to Muncie, check out our program from California, Michigan, Florida, kind of all over, which is great. So it's not just an Indiana resident program. As you can see on this graph here, there are 92 counties in the state of Indiana, and we've actually had individuals come from 52 of those counties. And this is the latest information. I just pulled this today. And then you can see 50% of our students that enroll have a certificate of completion, 47% have a diploma, 2% of our students have dropped out, and 1% had a GED. And we've had 188 students graduate from our program. We've had a couple students that did not complete the program, but we've had 188 that have, and somebody that maybe did not complete it was just, it just wasn't a right fit once they were in the program, things like that. But 188 in that time frame of our 4 years that we've been open, that is phenomenal. And then I've got some results in a little bit that I just pulled some numbers today. At the end, I will share of how many individuals are employed, which is great. So I want to talk briefly about our application process. And so once a student applies to our program, they fill out an application that's on our website. They fill that out. and then they submit that. Once we receive that, we're gonna set up a 2-hour interview and assessment, and we will be looking at like job skills, but then also our community skills as well. So the job skills, we want to make sure that that program that they're applying for is a great fit for them. And then once we finish the application, the interview process, then we will send a letter in the mail letting a student know if they have been accepted to that program or if they've been denied. So one thing about our program is if a student is denied to that program that they applied for, then they still have other options, in the sense that we have 9 different programs that we are offering. So if a student applies to one program, they're denied to that program, they still have 8 other programs that they could apply to. So if they are denied, it's not entirely to all of EGTI, it's just that program that they applied to. It could be a skill set, just wasn't quite there for that particular job. Could be one reason. And then we have an orientation process that students go through. Housing arrangement. So students do live here on campus here at EGTI. So they're actually living in the hotel room, which is a great opportunity for our students. And that's what sets us apart from other programs that might be out there that maybe you've heard of, is our students are actually living here and they are learning that independent living skills as well. So our students are living in the hotel. They are getting to decide if they want to have a roommate or not. So there is a little bit of a cost difference. If they have a roommate or if they don't have a roommate, there is a cost difference. So sometimes that weighs the option. Right now, because of COVID-19, it's just changed everything in the world. But all of our students, we've made that decision that all of our students will have a single room at this current time. So we actually are in a training session right now. Our students moved in on Sunday, and so they are wrapping up their first week here. So we have 8 students that are currently enrolled and living here. And then we are also running a summer camp too, a 3-week summer camp. And so we have 8 students that are here, 8 campers for the 3 weeks. So we actually have 16 students that are on campus right now. And so they all have their own individual room. So typically I'm not here in the office this late in the evening. And that's why we have part-time staff and we have evening staff and overnight staff that are here to support our students. But it's not a one-on-one support. And so that's why we're going to talk about here in the next slide, I believe it is, about some of these things that we need to work on for an individual to be successful and independent to live here in the hotel while they are training here at EGTI. Waiver services can be used while a student is here. They would then just transfer their waiver support services to a provider here in Delaware County. That has happened before. Students have utilized that. But with technology, sometimes supports have just been through Skype, things like that as well. Or we've had some providers that actually have driven up to Muncie to work with their client as well. So it's whatever a student and the provider wants to do, we can work with that as well. We do have a nurse that is here part-time. She is here on consultation. And so if a student has an emergency or needs to talk to the nurse, we can get in contact with the nurse. She is also one of the managers of the emergency room department here at IU Health Ball Memorial, located here in Muncie. But she comes over and does a weekly med check. So we're not dispensing medication out, and I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. And so this is our prerequisite document. And this is on our housing website, but I am going to actually switch off my screen real quick. I'm going to change screens to show this document a little bit closer, because I do want to talk about this because it is a really big part to talk about, especially for for what we're talking about for this conference of the topic of the independent living. And so this document is on our website, but this is things that we put together as a staff of things that we recommend a student have some independent living skills and knowledge of when they are coming to live here at Erskine Green Training Institute. So these are some great things that parents can work on with their son or daughter. Providers could also do this and maybe put this on a transition IEP as well, that could be worked on in a school setting as well, is kind of our thought. So I'm going to go over these different topics here to talk about some of this. So communication, whether that is via a cell phone or texting. We've had some students that haven't they've came to EGTI and they didn't have a cell phone or able to text or pull up an app. So some students have had a flip phone, and that's completely okay, because we are able to still provide assistance with students with the devices that they have, because then we're able to teach as necessary of if they're lost, how to contact help, maybe going into a business or approaching somebody to ask for help, an appropriate person. So I'm just going to go down on this left side here, and then we'll come back up on the other side here. So medication, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. So medication, like I said, we are not dispensing medication out to our students. And so this is a huge thing that students need to have a baseline knowledge of how to take their own medication. There's so many different ways, and there's some apps out there, but even setting up a pill box, or there's companies out there that you can get your pills packaged. And all you have to do is rip off the package and know that that's your morning pills, and then the next one you would rip off is your evening pills, things like that. So students need to have a baseline knowledge and a system set up of how they are going to take their medication, maybe also setting alarms on their phones and things like that. Also, how they're going to refill medication. So that's one thing that our part-time nurse is also checking for when she comes to do a med check, is so she will let staff know if some pills are getting low, so that they can have that conversation of how they're going to get a refill as well. So money management, we are not managing a student's money when they are attending here at EGTI. So an individual needs to be able to have some money management skills of being able to purchase things maybe on a card, a debit card. We've had students use a Visa gift card before, to where the parents then uploaded a certain amount of money to a card a week, or they utilize cash. So some students utilize cash more than they use a card. Also being able to use the ATM, maybe that's a great skill to have, of learning on how, if they have a bank card, how to go to an ATM and to take cash out is a great skill to have. Public restrooms, being able to identify which restroom to go into, being able to lock the stall, and then also be able to properly use the toilet successfully. So we're not helping with that. So we've had some students that maybe needed some assistance in using a restroom, and so that's where they use the waiver services support, and so they have a provider here that would come in and help them as needed. So just a conversation that would need to be had, but some things to work on there. Dining etiquette. So being able to communicate to a host of how many people are in a party. So if you're going to go into a restaurant, how many people are you sitting with? Being able to let the server know what you want from the menu. So being able to communicate in some fashion to the server of what you would want. Advocating for your meal if it is incorrect. So actually, I'm going to use an example of a student today. I was out with our campers today at a Mexican restaurant for lunch. And I was sitting across the dining room, and a camper ordered some tacos, and they weren't what she wanted. And so we were watching to see how she was going to respond to it, because we could tell that she was getting frustrated because they weren't correct. They had some things on her tacos that she did not want on there. She did not ask for to be on there. And so we did not intervene, because we wanted to see her independence and also allow her to advocate for herself, because that's very important and independent skill to learn. And so we could tell what was going on, and we just said, "How's your food?" And she spoke up and said, "Well, there was lettuce on it, and there was something else on it, and that I didn't ask for that." So we said, "Okay, well, what can you do?" And she said, "Well, when the server comes back, I'm going to tell him." And she did. And so that was so great to see that she advocated for herself, because her meal was incorrect. And she could have let it ruin her day. She could have let it ruin her meal and not eat lunch, but she advocated for herself, and that showed so much independence and growth. So great example right there that happened today, that a student had that skill and was working on it. Or being able to talk up for allergies. So we've had many students that have come to EGTI that maybe had an allergy to dairy or gluten. And so being able to advocate when you're going out to a restaurant, because our students, their meal plan, they have like 20 to 25 different restaurants that they are eating at. And so we'll talk about that here, of how their meal plan works. So some great dining etiquette is on that as well. I'm going to scroll back up to the top here of daily living activities. So daily hygiene, being able to shower independently, get ready, shave, being able to get dressed independently, and being able to do laundry. That is a big thing, being able to do their own laundry. So when our students are training here at EGTI, they're living here. There is a washer and dryer here, so students are having to do their own laundry. And so that's a great skill to learn while at home before coming, of how to do laundry. We here at EGTI will actually do weekly room checks. And so we go into the student's room once a week to just make sure that things are picked up in the room, that housekeeping can get in there, make the bed, all of that. And if we see that the pile of laundry is stacked up and maybe it smells, we're going to have a conversation about, okay, when are you doing your laundry? And sometimes it's come down to they just weren't sure how to do it, and they didn't ask and didn't advocate. They were afraid to. And so we just have that conversation and help learn and teach how to do laundry. Time management. We have this on this document of how to set alarms to help wake up, to arrive on places on time. We learned day one who may have struggled with time management because if they're showing up late to class. We are helping them put some steps in place of setting the alarm. What time did you go to bed? Especially day one, they're in a new environment. Maybe they're dependent on somebody else waking them up and making sure that they're up and going since they're living in a room by themselves. So it's just a different thing, but we definitely work on time management a little bit more here as needed as well. This is a great thing that we also are teaching here, but it's great to have a baseline knowledge for when a student is coming here as personal safety. So interacting with a stranger, if a person comes up and approaches you, what do you do? Do you shut down? Do you not talk to them? Do you walk away? What's an appropriate reaction to that? Not allowing a stranger into your personal space. And so we're actually teaching that here week one, day one, of making sure that students are safe in their hotel. So we have a community access checklist that I'll talk a little bit about here. And the community access checklist has 3 different levels to it. And level 1 is we want to make sure that students are safe here in the hotel. So we're going to make sure that a student knows how to use a peephole in the door, or also how to use the safety lock bar to where the door doesn't open all the way if they aren't sure who's outside their door, or if they're not sure how to call the front desk to let them know someone's at my door and I don't know who it is. And so making sure that they're not going to open their door to a stranger to make sure that they're safe here in the hotel. Also, we set up scenarios too of making sure that students aren't going to leave the hotel with a stranger. And so we actually have friends of ours that will come in to set up a scenario to make sure that a student's not going to leave the hotel, because our hotel has 150 rooms, and most of the time our hotel is sold out. And so there are a lot of people in and out of the hotel. And so we want to make sure that students are safe here in the hotel. And so we set up those scenarios for those reasons. And I'll talk a little bit more about our community access checklist and what that all looks like while a student is here. So another thing on here that we want to make sure that a student has some baseline pedestrian skills. So knowing their right from left, knowing their directions, and pedestrian cues. So when crossing a street, what the stop signal signs are, knowing the walk signs, things like that. Those are some great skills to have. Even if a student is coming from a rural area, those are great things to have some baseline knowledge of, because they will be utilizing walking around the streets here of Muncie at least one given time, multiple times when they're here. Also being able to cross the street safely, that's a big thing, and that's a big part of our community access checklist. So like I said, this is something that we put together. We wanted parents to have a document, but also educators to have some skills of what we believe an individual needs some skills to have to live independently on their own, especially here at EGTI, but these are great skills to have whether they're living here at EGTI or another program, or independently, maybe in their own apartment somewhere else as well. So this is on our website, just egti.org is our website, and then it's under our housing tab there. I'm gonna stop sharing this screen and go back to the PowerPoint. And if there's any questions, this would be a good time that we could jump on there as well. But I'm gonna go back to my PowerPoint here. Okay, so we have, I wanna talk about our programs. So I've talked about how many programs that we have, but I haven't really gone in depth on those. And so I want to touch base on those. So we have 9 different programs. And so when we started this program, our hope and focus was to really get on in the focus of the hotel and restaurant industry. And once we got going, IU Health Ball Memorial heard about the program, wanted to get on board with us as well. And so that's why now we have our total of 9 programs, to where we are also in the healthcare field over at IU Health Ball Memorial. And so we have the list of programs here. I'm going to go through these lists, and either one of the programs, some of the programs are either 10 weeks long or 13 weeks long, depending on the certain program. And that's all because the program curriculum for that particular program, it just kind of, it varies in the length of it. And so the healthcare program, there are a couple that are 10 weeks and some that are 13 weeks, just depending on, so some jobs have more of a length of a curriculum. So nutrition services, that is more of the dish room area in the hospital setting. Environmental services, that is more of housekeeping in the healthcare setting. Patient transport, that's going to be taking patients from maybe their hospital bed to or hospital room to x-ray site, CT scan, things like that. So it's pushing a stretcher around the hospital or utilizing a wheelchair as well. Another program is our supply chain inventory distribution. That is more of taking supplies from a warehouse setting up to the different floors, to their storage areas, to stock for the nurses and doctors that have medical supplies to help the patients right there on the floor so they don't have to wait for the supplies. Then in the hotel, the Courtyard Marriott, we have our front desk agents, so they are learning how to check guests in. They are answering phones. They are answering questions that students or guests may have about Muncie, where maybe restaurants are, giving directions. One thing students also will deal with as a front desk agent is some difficult customers. So conflicts. So students will go through some scenarios of that, of how to handle a conflict as well. Another part of our hotel program, the hospitality, is our Heart of the House program. This one is broken up into 4 different jobs that they will learn, and we've had some students that have focused more maybe just on one of those jobs before. But one is laundry, or one is room attendant, and that is housekeeping in the hotel. So they're going in cleaning guest rooms. Another one is laundry attendant. They are going into the laundry room here at the hotel, cleaning the sheets and all the towels and folding them. So learning the correct folds for all that. So the Marriott has a certain standard of how the sheets and towels have to be folded. And so students are learning those correct folds. Another one is our linen runner. So linen runner is going to be taking up those clean towels and sheets and taking those to the different stock rooms on each floor. So our hotel has 6 different floors, so they are learning where those stock rooms are and restocking those for the different housekeepers on those floors. Then the houseman role, that is keeping our lobby and public space clean, and so they're learning on how to do that as well. Then in our restaurant, so we have our 625 Tap House restaurant that is located here in our hotel, and then there's also the bistro. So the bistro serves breakfast in the morning to hotel guests, and then they also open up in the evening for hotel guests and community as well. So our kitchen cook students are training at the 625 Tap House. So they're learning how the different recipes, how to measure different things, maybe substituting some foods out if there's dietary restrictions, learning their way around a restaurant kitchen. And then they're also utilizing the bistro kitchen for some of their training as well. And then in internship mode, which I'll talk about internship mode here in a moment, they'll do some internship at the bistro, which has some very early hours, and I'll talk about what those hours and internship means, and then I think in the next slide. And then we have our host server assistant position. They are learning how to greet guests, how to seat guests using an iPad to know where guests are seating, who the server will be notifying the server, it's almost like an elevator speech is what I like to call it, taking when they're walking the guests to their table and taking their menus and silverware to them, having a slight kind of conversation with them while they're doing that. So that's our host server assistant. The server assistant part is also getting refills and helping the servers take food out to the tables. Then we have the dishwasher server assistant position. That is the dishwasher part. So they're back in the kitchen working on the dishwasher area. So they are learning how to put the dishwasher machine together and take it apart for cleaning. They are also working with the kitchen staff of making sure that all of the dishes and utensils and everything is clean appropriately, using the correct sanitation products. And then they are also helping servers, assisting them with maybe taking food out, getting refills, getting drinks, things like that. So those are our different programs. We do have video vignettes that are on our website that go into more detail than what I just described of these different programs. There's a job description, there's the responsibilities, and then you can also see in these video vignettes of what those jobs actually look like. So this is a great opportunity to take a look at that. Those are on our website under our programs tab, but then they are also on our YouTube channel that we have also. Okay, career sampling session. So we do have a career sampling session that is offered several times a year. This is a great opportunity in addition to our regular program that we do. So a career sampling session is 2 days to allow an individual to come in and experience all 9 programs that we offer. And so they will actually get to do different parts of those jobs. They're going to be doing 5 different parts of each job. They'll be assessed on those parts. And while they're being assessed on that, the assessment will then turn into a document that they will get at the end of those 2 days that show a percentage of where we as a staff saw their skill set for that particular job to help them determine what job maybe they would want to go into and what their skill set is good for, what they're really good at. So students will get that. They will also get another document that says that we're constantly filling out after each job, that we're asking the students whether they liked a job, yes or no, and then if they thought that job was hard, yes or no. And so that is another document that they will get. These are scheduled several times throughout the year. I know I have some dates coming up here at the end of July, but it's going to look a little bit different. But typically our career sampling session is $25, and that covers the lunches for the 2 days. An individual can attend our career sampling session as long as they are 14 years and older. So if they're starting high school and they want to attend this, they could totally do that. We've had individuals that have attended our career sampling session more than one time. So this is a great opportunity. Maybe at the beginning of their high school career, they attend this, have an idea of maybe what job that they want to work on that could be used in the school setting for the transition IEP, some transition IEP goals. But then this could also then be maybe a comeback at a later time before exiting the school system to see what their skill set has developed during that time period as well. So that's a question I get a lot, is what, is there a certain number of times that students can come to this? There isn't. Is it mandatory that a student comes to a career sampling session? It is not, but it's a great opportunity to kind of go through a discovery of 9 different programs that we offer. Like I said, we have some programs or some of our career sampling that is coming up here in July, July 27th and 28th, and August 3rd. Okay, so the variation of what's going to be happening here in July and August for our career sampling, it is only going to be a 1-day career sampling session. And that is because we are not cleared yet to be over at IU Health Ball Memorial to take our career sampling session students over there. They're viewing that still as kind of an internship position, and so we're not allowed to be over there yet because they aren't opening it up to the general public. So we will just be focusing on our restaurant and our hospitality programs here at the hotel for that 1 day. And so that will actually be a $13 fee, and that'll cover lunch for that 1 day. Just so you know, that is on our website. There is registration for that. Just egti.org and then our career sampling page. So those dates again are July 27th and 28th and August 3rd. So our training, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Our training, we have a max of how many students we can train per session. So we do 4 sessions a year. So each program that I just talked about are offered twice a year. So if a student wants to maybe do the inventory distribution, and we have a limit of how many students that we can train in that program at one time, maybe they might get bumped back to the next session that it is offered, just to give you an idea of that. We have a max of 15 to 20 students per training session, depending on the program. Our typical day is Monday through Friday from 8 to 3:30. The hours will vary, like I said, an internship mode. So the internship is the last 4 weeks of our training session. And that's where we have seen that a student has mastered a skill and our staff start stepping back, just like a job coach would. And so with that, a student might be training and doing their internship in the bistro as a kitchen cook. And so they actually might start at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning because they are preparing breakfast for hotel guests. So they might have a shift that starts at 5 or 6 in the morning, and they are working until 10 in the morning when the bistro closes, and then they will work with staff right after that, and then they're done for the day. So their hours could vary. We are teaching in some large group settings in our classroom. It can be a one-on-one setting, or it could also be a small group setting and on the job training as well. So our first week, which our students, like I said, we have students here. We have 16 students right now, 8 campers and 8 students, and they're going through that orientation phase right now. So learning a lot about Muncie, learning about the hotel, learning the bus system. And so that is happening this week currently, but that happens during week 1. Then that internship, like I said, is the last 4 weeks. We're also, with our students, we're working on a lot of work readiness skills, building their resume, putting interview questions together. They'll actually go through a mock interview. So those are great skills to have as well, along with an application process, understanding how to fill out an application, and then also job searching. So one thing that EGTI is not doing, we are not doing job placement. And so that is where a student, an individual will select a job provider, a job coach, and they will help them with that after they graduate EGTI. But we are setting up a student to be successful, to go out and start job searching, maybe even if they haven't selected a job coach, but we're not doing the job providing for that. We're not a job coach services. However, we do have some great partnerships with companies and organizations around the state of Indiana. And so if we know that a student is going to be applying to a certain company or organization, we're definitely going to be reaching out to our network and our contacts to let them know that a student is applying to their company or organization, and just letting them know that. We are also working on a lot of work readiness, a lot of soft skills, so time management, like I talked about, proper dress, hygiene, making sure students look professional when they're coming to class, their hair is done, they've got clean clothes on. Also like social skills, so that they can approach maybe a coworker, that they can go and talk with the boss, things like that. So a lot of social skills, we are working on those as well, besides the job training. Community access checklist, like I said, we've got those 3 different levels. The level 1 is the being safe here in the hotel. Level 2 is pedestrian skills. We want to make sure that a student is safe out in the community. And so making sure that they're crossing the street safely, that they can get from point A to point B, they know who to contact in case of emergency. And then also level 3 is writing MITS. So MITS stands for Muncie, Indiana Transit System. And our students are taught how to use the MITS book and also how to use the app. So MITS has a great app that goes on cell phones. that you can actually see where the bus is located at on the route. And you can plan your route straight on their app. And then it also integrates really well with maps on an iPhone and Google Maps as well. So they have done a lot to their system to make it really accessible and integrated. We have a handbook. It is on our website. So students have their evenings and weekends are very open to allow individuals to decide what they want to participate in the evenings. And this is when our part-time staff and overnight staff and evening staff are here to help facilitate students in the evening. And so students also have the opportunity to have a community mentor that's 1 hour a week to just access the community, to get out and about in Muncie, and then also a fitness mentor, which is also 1 hour a week. Those are not mandatory, the mentors, but those are opportunities that students have. Our students also have a free membership to the YMCA while they're here at EGTI. So that's a great opportunity to get out, go to the Y, access the pool, the gym, all of that. Our students use a meal card. It looks exactly like this card here on your screen. And this is, it acts just like a debit card. And so we are able to put money onto it. Each week we upload a certain amount of money, and then we also have it controlled to where we can, it can only be used at 20 to 25 different restaurants that are approved. And if a student uses it at, say, like they go to Walmart or Target, that's not an approved location, so it will get denied there. If a student uses, let's say, in one transaction, they spent $30. Okay, what did you get to eat? That was probably a lot of food. So let's talk about some budgeting and maybe some eating. What did you eat? And I hope you have some leftovers as well. So that just allows for more conversations and budgeting conversations, because we get notifications on that in our email. So we love the system. It's called TrueLink. It's a banking system. And so we really like that, to allow our students to have that independence and being able to work on using a debit card while they're here as well. Students also have the opportunity while they're here to get some additional certifications other than receiving the EGTI certificate that they receive at graduation. So we have, like I said, 4 sessions a year. So we have 4 graduations a year as well. And so those graduations, if you have not seen a graduation of EGTI or experienced one, I invite you to come to one. They are very impactful. Not only are our students receiving their certificate, but many students will get up there and speak to their peers and also to their family members about their journey here at EGTI. So it's very powerful time. Some of the certifications, our kitchen cooks are taught information from ServSafe, and then they are also given that exam that is sent off to that company, and then we get the results back. Same with our front desk agents, kitchen cooks, and students training in the Heart of the House program are taught information from the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute. So they're taught information from their START certification, and that is a lot of like guest interaction. How would you handle a guest in this type of situation? Things like that. And so they are taught information, given that exam, and then that is sent off for scoring. Funding, a lot of our students, I will say, majority of our students have been fully funded through vocational rehabilitation. If a student has not, when I'm going out and talking to parents and educators, if a student has not started with VR, I recommend that they do, just to see what services that they could get. It is not guaranteed that a individual will receive funding through vocational rehabilitation. It is all going to be client by client, case by case of whether a student could receive funding to attend EGTI from VR. We have had some individuals that have private paid or they have taken out a loan. We have not gone down the avenue of the workforce development work one avenue yet, but if we need to, we can certainly open that door and have conversations along that avenue. We've had individual use an ABLE account. If you have not heard of Invest ABLE Indiana, I think they're about 2 years old. It's a great organization. Check them out, definitely. So if a family had a 529 college savings account, that can be rolled over into an Invest ABLE account, and that could be used at EGTI or other places as well, because that 529 savings account can only be used at accredited university or college, and EGTI is not one of those accreditations, but it could be used from the Invest account, Invest ABLE. Also a trust account, if they have a trust account, also the ARC of Indiana has a master trust. So if you haven't heard of the master trust before, the ARC of Indiana has one, and so that could be set up and used through them to attend EGTI. Cost, this is all on our website. So if you are curious of the cost, that is all listed out there. This is just one example from our 2020 13-week program and it's all laid out on our website of what the different cost is. Like I said, I wanted to talk about real quick, after a student graduates, we are also following up with survey questions and keeping in contact with our alumni. So 8 months after a student graduates from EGTI, we're talking about if they have a job, where they're working, what type of pay they're getting, what their average salary is, things like that. And so right now, the latest data we just got in, I just received it across my desk today, and so this is our latest data, is 79% of our graduates at the 8-month mark are employed, which is a really good number. 21% were unemployed. And then the 18-month mark, we are also doing a follow-up survey as well, and 78% of the students at the 18-month mark are employed and 22% are unemployed. So this down here is not updated. This graph is, I just pulled that in today. Like I said, we're on our social media constantly. So check out our social media. There's a lot of different videos, photos, and information, especially about general tours. If you're wanting to see EGTI in person, we welcome you to come to a general tour. We have some coming up in August 7th and August 17th is our next general tour that will be on site. So I want to open it up to any questions that we may have here. I do apologize if I was talking really fast. I wanted to get all this information out to you, and also being able to talk through that prerequisite independent living document that we have there. So are there any questions?
I have a question, and you did a great job, by the way. I think you covered it very well. So my question is, when you have to deny a student, when they don't get accepted because they lack certain independent living skills, what are the most common things that you see your students lacking? And what are the things that we as parents should be working on more?
I think one thing that I can think of is you know your son and daughter and what skills they have. And so making sure that they are, I've got two thoughts. Making sure that they are applying to a program that they are going to be successful in, because you know their skill set and you know their capability in some of these jobs. And so one thing I can think of is if maybe reading is not a strong suit, is not a strong skill. Kitchen cook does require reading. reading the recipe, reading the measurements, things like that. Also, our inventory distribution program, it requires a lot of math, actually. And so that is estimating, whether that is estimating in their head or like being able to visually look at something and estimating. And so I think that's one thing, is making sure that your son and daughter are able, that their skill level that you are letting them apply to, that they're going to be successful and independent in that job. Another thought that I have too on this is, when your son and daughter, if they come to EGTI, they return home to work, you want to make sure that there's jobs in that job market in your hometown. So if your son or daughter is looking at EGTI to do our patient transport program, that is a particular program that not every hospital has a patient transport department. So you want to make sure that you want to do some research, and hopefully if you're working with VR, they've done some research as well. You want to make sure that your son and daughter are going to be successful in that job market once they graduate and return home to find that job. Because if not, okay, so what is the plan? Is your son and daughter going to be moving to live independently at an apartment or a house near a place of employment that has that type of job? So I know I'm from a rural community up near Shipshewana, Indiana, and so that type of hospital is not going to have a patient transport department. And so somebody that's going to return back to Shipshewana would not be successful in that job market. However, they're going to have skills that they're going to take away from that job. But if the whole goal is to do that job after graduation, then I would recommend maybe there should be a different job that you're looking at. So that's one thing that I've had many conversations with parents about, what is in your area that your son or daughter are going to return home to do, is one thing that I would recommend as well. Are there other questions? I hope I covered your question there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, you guys all have Fenway's contact information, or if you have a question for him, if you think of it later and you forgot to write his stuff down, you're welcome to send that on to me and I can forward it to him and get you connected. Thank you so much. I think this was really helpful, and I love your program. I think it's so neat, and I keep saying I need to go and spend the night in Muncie just to stay at the hotel and get to experience it. But
yeah, thank you. Thanks for everyone for joining. I am going to put in the chat here my email address if anyone has any questions. So I've got my email address there. It is fpark@egti.org. So you can send me an email if you have an individual question, or if you've got questions about our career sampling or want to attend our general tour, just send me an email. Happy to assist you.
all right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to go ahead